Hi, I'm Tanya Holloway, Miss Plus America Elite 2021. You're watching Determined Women of Destiny with your host, Yvonne, the Motivator Man.
Hey, good people. Welcome to Determined Women of Destiny. I am your host, Yvonne, the Motivator Man. And today's show, I'm telling you, I hope you guys don't do what you usually do and come in after break. I hope all of you are right here with me because this is exciting. Every year, there's a Cannes Film Festival. And a lot of us, I said us because I'm with you too, may not know what that actually is. And then after doing some research, and the two people that are going to be on my show today will let me know if I'm wrong, but they have like a African American segment, just for us Black folks to show what we do as filmmakers, producers, and directors. So I am so blessed, proud, and honored to have Robin Williams and Amber Monet with me today. They are the director and producer of the legendary Marion Williams documentary. Welcome both of you to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
So please tell my listeners exactly what this film festival really is. I can't even get it out. Film festival. That's it.
Give that to Amber. Amber, she's the main one on that.
Okay, Amber.
Yeah. So in Cannes, in France, there's a film festival. It's a really large festival. A lot of different countries are invited to, and they just present some of that country's work for that year, or informational documentaries, or really intense dramas, or narratives that really speak to a certain crowd, or bring some about change. I believe Spike Lee is right now over the voting board at the Cannes Film Festival. It's a really good. So if you're familiar with Sundance or Tribeca, it's the France version of that.
Okay. And that is like the place where filmmakers go to really get their work recognized. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And also, if they have an idea that they want to pitch to producers, that's also a really good place for filmmakers to go and present those ideas as well for possible pickups.
So Amber, tell me, how did you come to be a filmmaker?
That is a really good question, because by design, I'm actually a dancer. I grew up dancing in church. I danced since I was 3. I did a lot of praise dance. I went to school for dance. And one day I had a friend at college that took me into the media room during one of our breaks. And I walked in and I said, "This is a major? Wait. So you learned how to use all this equipment, lights, camera, action." I went to Temple University. And I said, "This is amazing." I just felt at home. And then from then, I wanted to learn a lot about media. I wanted to learn a lot about storytelling. And I wrote a documentary short in college for my first time. And my professor was like, "You really are good at storytelling." I was like, "Really?" So I was like, maybe I should do this more often. And then it's been a blessing since then. I've just been trying to grow, learn. I'm still a baby in the lamb. And this is my first full-length documentary that I've done. So that's awesome. And and now I do both film and dance. So,
well, congratulations on your first full documentary. And I'm just blown away how you went from dancing to making, films. Wow.
Well, they're actually more similar than you think, because dance is about rhythm, beats, and nuances.
Okay.
So editing is the same way. You have to keep the rhythm. You have to make sure people are engaged.
Mm-hmm.
It's very similar. It's like music and dance. They kind of like work together.
Oh, that's fascinating. And Mr. Williams,
Yes, ma'am.
how did you become involved in filmmaking? You know, we know that the documentary is about your mom,
Right.
but
Well-
you were doing this before you decided to do the documentary. Am I correct?
No, basically,
Oh,
I am a musician full time.
mhm.
Now I'm retired somewhat. I used to travel with my mother all over the world. This idea of doing this documentary of my mother, I'm an only child, so I wanted to do something so that people can remember her, and I had this idea, and me and Amber, that's how me and Amber met, because my wife had a play, and theatrical play, and we got her to do the dance, and she was doing the performance, and we started talking, and then she let me know that she does filming, so that's how it started. But
Okay.
I'm not a filmmaker, or I'm mostly a musician. I write music, I produce music, and that's my background. Like I said, I was traveling, playing drums with my mother, and she wasn't the only one. It was some other gospel singers that I would travel overseas with, play locally with, and here in Philly. So for a while, that was my passion. Still is. Don't play as much. I get phone calls to play at churches and things like that sometimes. So.
Okay.
So now I'm really focused on this documentary and the other projects that we have going.
Okay, great. Now, Marion Williams was a great gospel singer. And as I was speaking to her son, Robin, I was like, how is it that I didn't know about her? Not saying that I know all the gospel greats, but those of you who are my, ongoing listeners, I'm a church girl all day, every day. I was raised in church. My mom is a deaconess, Southern Baptist, so I would have known. But she was part of the ward singers. So when Robin said that, I said, aha! Now, definitely in my household was the music of the ward singers. And she is attributed to a lot of different genres now of music that have taken bits and pieces from her style. The wailing that she did, she was known as a wailer. And Little Richard took that from Marion Williams. And there's a lot of other music that also has taken some snippets from her, and you don't even know it was her. So I'm really glad that the documentary will just show her life and show her music and show her career. Yes. So if you can, both of you, please tell us a little bit about this film and, what we're going to look forward to.
I guess I'll take this one.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to see a story that we actually have her telling. There was an interview that she had did for a radio station. So we took that interview and made it into, her telling her story from the time she was 9 years old and she had to leave school to take care of her mother, but she had got 2 legs amputated and everything for diabetes, to actually going to Philadelphia to see her sister and meeting the ward singers. And the ward singers wanted Clara Ward and Willow Ward, her mother, not Willow Ward, Gertrude Ward, her mother. They wanted to sign her right there and then, but she had to go back and talk to her mom and everything. From there, 11 years of being with them, traveling on the road. 1958, she had me, and there were some things going on with the ward singers, a group, so they broke up. And then she formed her own group called the Stars of Faith, which consists of some of the people from the award singers, Frances Stedman, Kitty Parham, I'm going to say Henrietta Waddy. That's what I call it. I call it Grandma Waddy. That's why I get that name mixed up. But so she formed a group, and then from there, they were traveling. And then from a Christmas album that she recorded, a gentleman talked to Langston Hughes about making a theatrical play called Black Nativity. That was the first all-Black theatrical play that traveled all over the world on Broadway. And she was one of the headliners with Alex Bradford. And then from there, went to a solo career, and that's where a lot of things changed. She started doing a lot of folk festivals, colleges, things like that, and then started traveling overseas a lot. So, and then to the time from her timely death in 1994, we talk about that. And so I'm here to make the history of her go on. And, behind other gospel singers like Mahalia Jackson, they were friends, Aretha Franklin and all of them. My mother, matter of fact, Mahalia Jackson was my godmother. A lot of people don't know that, but she was my godmother. And so she was always kind of like the second person behind Mahalia Jackson and other people, So, but once she got her notoriety with the Kennedy honors and the MacArthur Foundation and the Philadelphia Alliance Walk of Fame, she got her just dues.
Okay, great. Now, I don't want to, but I have to go to break. I got to pay them bills. Them sponsors want to be heard. But when we come back from break, Amber, I want you to tell us like some of the ups and downs and struggles that the two of you went through. Because anytime you're trying to do something and God is involved, there's always that force that's trying to keep you from going forward. So we'll be right back after break. And you guys make sure you come back too. This is entertaining. It's entertaining.
Marguerite Bynum here, CEO of Supreme Manage. We are your strategic marketing and small business consulting firm. As a small business consulting firm, we provide owners with resources, advice, and planning designed to improve your organization's performance and efficiency. We assist businesses by identifying problems, implementing solutions, and reaching your goals. If that sounds like something you need, feel free to contact us at Supreme Manage on Instagram, and we will get back to you right away. See you then.
Hey, good people, and welcome back to Determined Women of Destiny. If you just tuned in, like I always say, shame on you. Where were you? All the good stuff happens in the beginning, but you also know I love you for being here with me. Today, I have Robin Williams and Amber Monet. The two of them came together and directed and produced a documentary on the life of Marion Williams. She was a great gospel singer who has impacted a lot of genres that you may not know about. And before we went to break, her son, Robin Williams, was telling us about her mother and her friendships, and Marian Anderson, which is his godmother, and her friendship with Aretha Franklin and how they traveled all over the world. And Amber, please tell us some of those ups and downs trying to get this story together so that you could bring it to us so that we would be able to enjoy it.
Yeah, that's a good question. So with any filmmaking process and that starting out or has a low budget, you have a lot of hoops that you have to go through to get your product out there and get it to a level that is presentable. Because, a lot of the films we see online or on Netflix or Hulu, some of them are small budget films, but most of them have $1 million or more budget. And when you don't have that, you really have to find creative ways to tell the story, but still keep the audience engaged. You don't have a lot of money to spend on special effects or sound scores or photos or like when you see a small clip, for example, of a movie, right? That small clip that's like 5 seconds may cost you like $10,000. And then when you get into filmmaking, you realize, oh,
yeah, I'm like $2,000.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah, wow.
No, I don't have that. We don't have that budget. So you have to find ways, and it's hard because you're kind of in a catch-22. You want to present good work, but then you have limited funding, and that's a lot of issues a lot of people of color in this industry have. And there's great organizations like African American Women in Cinema and the Pavilion Afriques who give filmmakers a chance because there's so many great storytellers better than us, you know, who are just really good at telling stories, but they don't have the funding for it. And we're hoping that is changed. And with Marion, you know, we're dealing with a subject that's no longer here. And that brings about a whole nother layer of challenges because I can't go and interview her. Right. I can't ask her to send me some more photos or take a picture. Right. We have to find so many archives. Thank you, Mr. Robin. He was searching in his garage and in storage, like finding just pictures we can use that weren't licensed to someone else. Cause you know, people love to take license of things, even if it, you know, it doesn't really belong to them. It's another story, but use enough footage to still give people an idea, a glimpse of who she was. And thank God we had some clips of her performing because it really helps the audience feel like they're in the audience watching her on stage, 1954, 1963. It's powerful when you have that. And when you don't, it's a challenge.
Wow. Mr. Williams, tell us, what is a song that your mother sang that if you told us the title, we know it right off the bat?
Well, probably with the ward singers, you probably would think of Packing Up, Getting Ready to Go, or Surely God is Able.
Surely God is able. Mm.
So later on down the road, she did a song called Prayer List. Was pretty good. Now, between there, you probably would have heard, she made a commercial. She made it from Atlantic Records called Standing Here Wondering Which Way to Go. And that song made a commercial out of it. And it was really a folk type, that 70s, you know, type folk music type stuff, you know, she made. And the people just loved it, you know, especially the white folks. So when we would do folk festivals, jazz festivals and all that, you know, it was great. So we used those songs she really used those songs, Oh Happy Day, Put Your Hand in the Hand of the Man to Still the Water. They loved that kind of stuff. And she would go out in the audience and stuff and, you know, hold their hand or put people together and stuff. And she would love to do that. And through those, she would actually call people to Christ in her concerts. And that was her main thing. My mother would love to have souls saved through her concerts and everything. So,
how wonderful to be able to use a gift to entertain people and also open the door for them to understand the Christ that we love.
Yes.
That's a phenomenal life, you know. And you attribute your love of music and being a professional musician to probably very young, being on the road, you know, with your mom. My uncle was a bishop, and my cousin never ever could read music but play guitar in church, you know, like some of the best guitarists, you know, just by playing by ear. So I'm assuming that, you know, just being around your mom and the singing and everything, music was just second nature to you.
Yeah, that was I started out actually playing percussion, playing bongos. My first gig with my mother was at Carnegie Hall. I was 9 years old, and she was doing a tribute concert to Mahalia Jackson. And she took me along, me playing bongos and everything. And that was my first gig and first paying gig at 9. And, you know, if I got $100, you know, to me, that was, I was happy, you know, okay, you know, but of course she took it and then saved it, of course, and things like that. But yeah, I started in church, and then I went from percussions to drums. And like I said, I was playing for a lot of choirs and groups in Philly. And then when I got the chance, in my later teens, that's when I really started traveling with my mother once I got out of high school. Sometimes she would take me when I was still in school, but once I got out of high school, I was able to travel with her a little bit more. And then in my 20s, traveled with her overseas.
Okay. For the young filmmakers coming up, what would be some tips, advice, or motivation that either one of you or both of you would give to the young filmmakers?
Yeah, that's that.
Create. Just start, because it's so crazy how the pandemic has changed everything. It has laid and even the platform for storytelling more than any generation before us. And the reason why is because we have short form things like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. You can get your story out on so many different platforms. You don't have to have a fancy camera anymore. You don't have to have an editing software program. You just gotta be camera ready.
That's it.
And as long as you're producing stuff, even if you got 5 followers, it don't matter. Produce stuff regularly. Keep a routine going. Be consistent. And that channel or that platform is eventually going to grow. And by faith, I believe somebody who has the right power to make an investment into your future is going to eventually see that and, hopefully fund your projects. And that's literally, no matter age, like that's what it is right now. And it's good because, people who don't have the resources can have another platform, but it's also challenging for filmmakers who've been doing this for a while that have, the camera equipment that they invested in and the software that they pay monthly fee for it, because that is still an art. Just like music is still a very much sacred art that isn't always, taken as seriously. So it's challenging, but I think it's more beneficial to our community than anything. And I'm here for that.
Great. Mr. Williams.
Yes, ma'am.
What can you say to inspire our filmmakers, our storytellers, even our musicians? Back in the day, it was like, if you told your parent you wanted to be a musician, it was like, no. When I told my parents I was going to school for theater, right, I was told, well, are you going to pay for it yourself?
Right.
So, the arts wasn't something that was looked at as a viable type of employment. But now things have changed so much. So what would be your tip to our young folks that want to get into music, the drummer or the guitarist?
Yeah. My thing and what I learned through the years is that being humble. A lot of the musicians I know, or now the young musicians, are very cocky. And I guess rightfully so. If you believe in your craft, you have to be a little cocky. But I've always been a humble person about my playing. I've always got compliments about it. When I was in church, my main goal, I didn't like to see the mothers of the church. If they was closed up, where the drums was at, if you play too loud, they start moving in the back. My goal was for them to be able to stay where they were at and to, enjoy. And then they have to move to the back because I was so loud. The other thing is you have to be persistent. fortunately, I have my middle son, well, both of my sons, my oldest son, he's a producer, percussionist. He's phenomenal. My middle son, I tell everybody, he's taken everything that I've had talent-wise and taken it. And he's a drummer. He's traveled a lot, and he's doing good. And I always tell him, just stay humble. And people don't like to be hard to work if you're hard to work with. If you are somebody that they don't mind working with you and enjoying your personality at the same time, that goes a long way. Because sometimes these musicians, they're hard to work with. Some of them are, but I taught my sons that, they have to be humble. And that's what I learned. Just be humble and believe God is going to make it. That may sound corny to some, but, you have to trust in God. And my thing is, everything is in timing. You get a phone call, don't ignore it. You may think it's something else, but, it could be your key to something big. So that's what I would say.
I want to thank you both for coming to the show and just giving us some insight about the Cannes Film Festival and about the legendary Marion Williams. How can we see this documentary?
Oh, wow. Today was the day that we launched the film to the Cannes Film Festival. Mm-hmm. And it was open to the public today. Okay. Unfortunately, right now, we can't release it again because we're in negotiations with distributors and everything. So it will be available sometime. I can't tell you when. Okay. I'm sorry to say that. But until then, we can post the trailer, and you can see a little bit of the trailer. I believe that's for right now. Am I right, Amber?
Correct.
I think that's so we can't really just we did it today, and because we had to present it to the Afrique Pavilion at the Cannes Film Festival today, and they had a link where you could actually watch it today and everything. But unfortunately, at 1:30 in the afternoon, a lot of people either are working or vacationing or doing something. So hope a few that we sent the link out could see it and everything. So
if they wouldn't have been bothering me at work, I would have been able to see it, because every time I sat down, someone called my name. I'm like, do you guys know what you want is not as important as what I need to do right now? But everybody, let's keep our eyes and ears open for this great documentary so we can celebrate Mr. Williams and Miss Monet and their efforts bringing this information to us. Thank you once again, both of you, for being on Determined Women of Destiny. The show is produced by Rudy J. Breedy. And until next time we meet, good people, peace and blessings. Keep doing what you're doing until what you're doing gets done.
And thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're more than welcome, more than welcome.
Joseph A. Slinger Haskell Funeral Service, Inc., located at 155 Sunrise Highway, Amityville, New York, 631-842-2788. We service the Amityville and surrounding areas, shipping foreign and domestic with cremation services available. With every service being catered to your personal needs, we here at Slinger Haskell Funeral Service will treat your family like it's our family. Again, we are located at 155 Sunrise Highway, Amityville, Long Island, 631-842-2788, or visit us at slingerhaskell.com.